this comes from roughly the same area that a brisket comes from. So it's going to be coming from this part of the cow, and a brisket comes from about this part of the cow. So consider this a similar kind of meat, brisket on a stick, if you will. And so even though you're going to cook it a lot of the same way with the same kind of seasonings, it's going to take a lot less time to cook than a brisket will, because of the fact that brisket is a much thicker piece of meat, and so therefore the smoke has to penetrate and the seasonings have to penetrate. So usually with a brisket, I will season it the night before and let it sit in the fridge overnight with the seasonings on to help absorb and to bring in some of that salt, some of that flavor. Ribs, you really don't have to do that. Any part of an animal that you cook with the bones act as conductors of heat and help to speed the cooking process along. Okay, so we're about to cut into this. This is a good looking rack of ribs. And like other ribs, there are certain things I'm going to do to this like as if they were pork ribs, such as removing the membrane. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about in pork ribs that in beef ribs you don't really have to do that. I disagree. I think it's just one more membrane that you would have to chew through. And it's not fun to have to chew through something that you don't have to, that doesn't add anything to the actual experience of it itself. Now you can see with the ribs that you have a certain fat cap. Now in a brisket, there's a certain amount of it you'll want to keep. This, I'm going to cut most of that off. And I don't know if it's easy to see this or not, but inside, what makes this Angus versus choice or something else is the amount of marbling that is between in the meat. The intramuscular fat is fantastic. So that's the stuff that's going to get rendered down and soften up and create flavor. This hard fat stuff, this is all going to be cut off. I'm going to trim that off, and I'm going to pull off the membrane that's on the bottom side. And so once I do that, I'm going to season it up and get it ready to go. Okay, so this is mostly trimmed. I've gotten a lot of the silver skin off. You can take more off if you want. People say to do that. I generally don't take that as much off as some people say, because I think it takes more of the meat off, but and it doesn't tend to bother me that much. But the silver skin is this stuff right here that covers it. Some people will dig in there and cut some of that out, like that. I'll do a little bit of it here and there, but not too much. And so most of the hard fat you can see is off. And so now it's a matter of taking off the membrane down underneath. Now once I'm done, I'm going to season it like I do most of my briskets with a very fine layer of Hellmann's mayonnaise.